The mill. Do you mind? I'm trying to do something here. Hey. Hey. Hey there folks, how you doing today? Hope all is going well with you. Welcome back to the channel. Please bear with any background racket that you might hear throughout this production. There's life happening out there. Sometimes the noise interferes with what we're doing in here. That's not going to change. Let's move forward. So for those of you that have been following along, you're well aware of what this is. For those of you that aren't, I'll give you a real quick recap of the prior 3 videos. Long story short, first generation Savage Axis 308 Winchester. First generation crappy trigger pull, first generation flimsy forend, really terrible plastic stock. This rifle had a Vortex Diamondback 4x12x42 on it when I got it. Bought it from a friend of mine that had bought it to go hunting, had fired 11 rounds through it and never taken it hunting. He moved out of the country. He needed to get rid of it. I got it for a song and decided to make it this year's project rifle. I took it to the range as I got it, and at 100 yards with the 8+ pound trigger pull and the really flimsy floppy forend and that 4x12 scope that just was not the optimal scope for a 308, I was still able to pull. I think the best group with it out of the box was like 1.75 inches, well within minute of deer at 100 yards. But those of you that know me know I can't leave anything well enough alone. So for our second video that we did, I bought some stock stiffening blocks and a trigger fix kit from mcarbo.com. The stock blocks are 3D printed. Let me try that in English. The stock blocks are 3D printed pieces of plastic that glue down into the factory voids in the webbing on the forend. They did help. They helped tremendously with up and down flex. They didn't do anything with the side to side flex. The trigger kit, on the other hand, not only did it drastically reduce the trigger pull, it got it down to about 4 pounds from almost 8. So I would say it's a 45 to 50% reduction in trigger pull, as well as the kit came with some shims that took a lot of the side to side wiggle out of that trigger. Trigger's great, stock not so much. For those of you that have been following along, you know that I've been trying to get my hands on the new Magpul Hunter Light stock made for the Savage Axis platform. They released it at SHOT Show this year. As of right now on their website, it still lists it as coming soon. I have a product arrival notification set for every color, so whichever color comes in stock first will be the color of the stock. After putting the plastic blocks in the forend and tuning up the trigger, we were able to cut those groups down to about half. The best ones were still over an inch a little bit, but keep in mind this was with ammunition that had not been developed or tuned for this rifle. So I really had my hopes up. I took it back out to the range and I did some further testing, and I just wasn't able to get below 1 inch out of this rifle with a proven load. It's a load that I've used successfully in other rifles, and I fine-tuned it a little bit, and I got it just about as good as I think it could be. And I really think the issue that we had at hand was my eyes with the crosshair reticle that was in that Vortex Diamondback scope just didn't see eye to eye. And I think there's a little bit of stock vibration going on with this thing. So hopefully we'll get that hammered out here in the very near future. I'm still waiting on the stock. There's nothing I can do about that right now. Concerning the scope, I have a surprise for you guys. I gotta keep a lid on it right now, but you're gonna be impressed. I think everybody's going to like the scope that's going on this rifle. I was hoping to make the next segment on this rifle the complete makeover with the new stock and the scope and everything. It occurred to me, living up here in East Texas, north of Houston, that The climate here is ridiculously hard on firearms. So before I put the rifle in the new stock or put the new glass on it, I'm going to take it out of this stock, clean it up, gas it out, sandblast it, CeraKote it, and we're going to cook it in this new oven that we built just for this process. I had to build an oven because the barreled action of this rifle is too long to fit in my wife's kitchen oven. Otherwise, it would be going in there. So because of some of the mistreatment we have received on the tube of you concerning firearm related videos in the past, I'm going to show the before and afters on YouTube. For the Rumble viewers, I'm going to go ahead and break this down in real time so you can see what there is to the process. And now we have our barreled action stripped down to the point where we need to degrease it and get it gassed out. Now what do I mean by getting it gassed out? CeraKote recommends that before you coat a weapon with their coating, that you degrease the metal and then you put it in an oven at around 300 degrees for an hour to allow it to weep the oil that's down in the nooks and crannies out of the metal. Then you got to scrub it up again, clean it up with some brake cleaner or some denatured alcohol or something of that nature to get it completely free of grease before you do the coating. What I am going to do is I'm going to degrease it before I sandblast it. I'll do the gassing out at that point, then I'll sandblast it, give it a final wipe down, and prep it for paint. Here you'll notice there's a considerable amount of gunk down in the nooks and crannies on this thing. So we're going to hose it out with some brake parts cleaner. I like the non-chlorinated kind when I'm messing with firearms because it is less likely to damage the finish and you're less likely to get weird fumes than with the chlorinated type. So here we have our control mechanism for our curing oven that I built. This controller is supposed to go up to 248 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't think it works that great. In here, you see I've got the barreled action suspended from the top. We've got plenty of clearance to the ground. Down there at the bottom, that's a pellet smoker heating element that I purchased. And then I've got an oven thermometer in here. Now obviously it's not on, I just hung it in there. I'm fixing to start the gassing out process for this barrel. And this also gave me a dry fit for the barreled action in the inside of the box. The box is plenty big. Now some of you may be concerned about the fact that I'm using a wooden box for this. It takes a lot more than 250 or 300 degrees to ignite plywood. And I've got this insulated foil in here, and when I tested it before, there were never any issues. Still, as you'll notice, it's sitting out in the yard. I don't have this inside my building. Alright, so what you can see there, folks, is that nasty little bit of oil and goop that ran out from under that barrel nut when we gassed out this barreled action in our curing furnace earlier. That's why CeraKote recommends that you gas out your metal before you refinish it. If we had not preheated it to get rid of that goop, that would have come out and ruined our new paint job. See there where the aluminum oxide is taking the finish right off and leaving a nice etched surface to paint. Alright, hey there folks, sorry about that. Sometimes despite our best efforts, things happen that interfere with what we're trying to do around here. For example, while I won't go back with a dawn of time explanation, there's a reason why I've been keeping more video footage after I record it and upload it, and as a result I ran out of storage. And during the formatting process of that last portion of the video, I lost content. Forever, it was gone. And by the time I realized it, the rifle had been reassembled and was ready for the next step. In the interest of brevity, because time is a perishable commodity around here, we got the CeraKote done. It turned out really well. We got the rifle reassembled. I did a step-by-step reassembly for the Rumble viewers, but unfortunately that was part of the content that got lost. If there's anybody out there that really needs to see that, somebody who says, hey, I've got one of these rifles and I want to do what you just did, but I'm unsure about the reassembly process, reach out to me. I will make a step-by-step video for you. But I'm not going to do it at this point in time with this rifle unless somebody asks me specifically for it. So we got the rifle back in the factory stock for now. We are still waiting for Magpul to release the Hunter Light stock to the public. Hasn't happened yet. As soon as it does, we're going to get one. In the meantime, we're back in this stock. We're going to be putting the scope on the rifle next week. The scope we're going to be putting on the rifle is a Crimson Trace Hardline Pro 4x16x50 first focal plane scope with an MOA reticle. On one side or the other here, I'll post the specifics of that scope. Just know it's a very nice scope, and we are grateful to Crimson Trace for providing it to us here on the channel for review. Because it's a review item, that portion of the Project Rifle video series is actually going to be its own video devoted to that scope. We'll get it mounted and zeroed, and all that will come out in the next portion of the video. While we're on the topic of Crimson Trace, if you look down in the pinned comment for YouTube viewers or in the video description for the Rumble viewers, you'll find my affiliate link as well as a discount code good for 10% off any purchase from Crimson Trace. While we are busy saying thanks, I also need to reach out and say a special thanks to my friend and loyal viewer of the channel, Joe, who provided me with a set of Night Force 30mm rings to mount that scope in for this rifle. So that was really, really cool. Thanks, Joe. We appreciate it. In the meantime, I've drug this on long enough. As I said before, if you need to see that step-by-step footage, reach out to me. I will provide that for you, but because stuff happened, we're going to leave it alone for now. So if you got anything out of this, leave us a comment down at the bottom. Be sure to like and share the video. It does help to defeat the algorithm that suppresses this kind of content. In the meantime, thanks for watching, folks. Take care. God bless. You will find my affiliate link through Crimson Trace. You're so freaking noisy. You weren't even there when I first came out here. You did this. I came over here, you showed up.